Hello children. Now in this video we are going to study about the food chain and the food web. Now first let us start with the food chain. Now when the organism feeds itself, it has to eat some another organism. So the food chain is the process of eating and being eaten up. The food chain starts from the producers. You all know that the producers do the process of photosynthesis. That is, they perform the photosynthesis by using the sunlight, the chlorophyll, and they prepare some food. This food they utilize for their own growth and then they are eaten up by the consumers. Now, all the other organisms they feed on the plants, they all are the consumers. But here also for the consumers, there are different levels of consumers like primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. The organisms that directly eat the plant are called as primary consumers. Organisms eating the primary consumers are the secondary consumers, and those who eat the secondary consumers are the tertiary consumers, and the others are the top level consumers. Now all these consumers, after that they are decomposed by the decomposers, and this decomposition process makes all the nutrients available back into the environment. So here we have to study the food chain. Now in this food chain, one organism eats the another organisms, and the process of eating and being eaten up is the food chain. Now here all the food chains they have to start from the plants. Always the plants or the green plants, the producers, they attain the first level in the food chain, because without plants the food chain cannot start. So if we take plant, if the plant is eaten by the insect is eaten by the frog by the snake, and the snake by the eagle. In this way the food chain proceeds. Sometimes the food chains are very small, like the plant, deer and the lion. And sometimes the food chains are very long, like discussed in the first example. But the food chain is not as simple as said here. It's very complicated because one organism is eaten by many other organisms, and hence there is a complex network, and this complex network is called as food web. So when many food chains interact with each other, the food chains are intermingled. They form a network, and this network is called as food web. The more the complicated food chain, the more is the food web, or many organisms are involved, that ecosystem is very good. So the food chain should always involve various organisms. It should be more and more complicated. But here one thing you have to keep in mind, that in the food chain, when the plants prepare their food, they prepare it for themselves. They use it for their own growth and development. Hence most of the energy is here utilized. Now only 10% energy goes to the further level. That further level, that organism also utilize the energy for their own self. They utilize that energy, and only the 10% goes to the further level. So as you go to the higher and higher level, the energy becomes less and less. So here one thing is that the energy is direct, indirect, always from the green plants, and they get energy from the sunlight. So starting from the sunlight, the energy passes to the green plants, then the animals, then the carnivores, and then the decomposers. One thing very important in case of food chain, you have to remember, that is the energy flow is always unidirectional. That is, the energy starts from the sunlight. Direct, indirect, sun is the major source of the energy for the whole universe. So the energy from the sun goes to the green plants, from the green plants to the consumers, then in consumers also primary, then secondary, then the tertiary consumers, and then the decomposers. The direction of the energy is always unidirectional, that is only in one direction. The back flow is impossible. So the unidirectional flow of the energy is one of the important feature of the food chain. Now in this food chain, if the plant have some pesticides or the herbicides sprayed on them, that enters the food chain from the plants to the carnivores to all the consumers, and direct, indirect to the man. Now as the harmful chemicals go into the food chain, this is called as biomagnification, and this is very harmful. this is the environmental issue that we have to discuss today, and this is very much dangerous fact taking place. And because of this, it is very necessary to clean all the vegetables and the fruits before use. But there are some things like wheat and rice that we do not wash. Wheat, jawar, bajra, we don't wash that, and indirect these chemicals are entering our body, and this is the harmful thing taking place today. So there should be reduction in the use of the chemicals. So here we have discussed about the food chain and the food web. Now in the next video we are going to see the further lesson. So till here the food chain and the food web. Let us see again.